You will probably judge me when you hear the continuation of this story, but what happened with my mother-in-law literally saved me, revived me, and brought back my zest for life. If you are not ready for such a turn of events, stop listening immediately, because there will be too much interesting stuff ahead. The client stood up from the couch so that I could examine everything I hadn't yet examined, but she was so open. She had been coming to me for massages for 2 months and was trying to hook me, while I pretended that nothing was happening. My wife was looking for nail marks on my back and love bites in secret places. In her imagination, I was doing it with all my clients 10 times a day. It should be noted that physical intimacy with my wife had long since ceased to be emotional intimacy due to constant arguments and scandals. I didn't want to divorce her or cheat on her with some crazy girl. After all, we were happy before, and I still hoped that our quarrels would resolve themselves and we would return to being ourselves. Our marriage was going downhill. I didn't want to come home. I took extra work to walk around longer, such a paradox with my wife. I felt bad, but I didn't want to leave her. Only someone who has been in my shoes would understand me, and someone who has never been in a dead-end relationship can't imagine how infinitely hopeless the soul feels. So, that evening my wife slathered on cream so generously that I was worried she would slide off the bed next to me at night, and I decided to talk to Max. I decided to let her come to you. You are a good specialist. She trusts you. Of course. Let her come whenever she wants, starting tomorrow. That would be good. Okay, let her come at 6. By that time, I will have cleared out the last client. Okay, I'll pass on the thanks. Olga turned away from me, not kissing me goodnight as she always did in the first years of our marriage, and soon fell asleep. The next day again passed in a series of the backsides of palms and the points of my clients' heels. My legs were tired from the constant strain, but I still had 2 clients left, my mother-in-law and the one who loves to film, and my mother-in-law. The first came today in leopard print underwear. She lay on the couch, spreading her legs, but I stubbornly ignored her hints. I stretched and massaged her back, and she relaxed. Soon the session came to an end. The client sat up so that the straps fell from her shoulders, and she looked at me invitingly, if I had been a little less resilient, but then the door to my office opened and in came Tatiana Olegovna herself. My mother-in-law was a petite attractive woman with big green eyes, golden chestnut hair. Today she had styled it in a high hairstyle, exposing her white neck with a cute mole just above the collarbone. My mother-in-law glanced around the office, lingered on my client, and something predatory flashed in her usually calm eyes. Hello Maxim. My mother-in-law stepped forward and pretended not to notice the client's bag on the floor, kicking it with her suede boot. Oh, sorry, please, I didn't mean to, said Tatiana Olegovna. Be careful, replied the temptress. Her plans were clearly disrupted. I was even glad that my mother-in-law came to save me from the need to communicate with the obsessive woman under the watchful eye of my mother-in-law. The beauty in leopard print dressed and left the office, wiping it behind her, contemptuously, said my mother-in-law. I smiled and changed the sheet on the couch. Tell me, what's wrong with your back? Well, you know, like some kind of clamps in the lumbar region in here, higher. My mother-in-law pointed to the area between the shoulder blades. Okay, we'll remove your clamps. Take everything off and lie down on the couch, I said, and then softly said I turned on relaxing music and lit an aroma lamp. My mother-in-law in the meantime took off her Angora sweater and was left in a red lace top. To be honest, I didn't expect her to wear such a top. I was pleasantly surprised by this. My mother-in-law took off the top and put it on the chair next to the couch and then lay on her stomach and blissfully lay on the couch where Tatiana Olegovna was sitting. I rubbed my hands together, I touched her skin and she shuddered as if she had been hit. On the stomach and blissfully lay on the couch where Tatiana Olegovna was sitting. I rubbed my hands together, I touched her skin and she shuddered as if she had been shocked. Is everything all right? I asked. Yes, it's just that no one has touched me for a long time, she replied with a smile, imagining what it would be like if she had a chest massage, for example. Tatiana Olegovna's husband disappeared 7 years ago. One day he just didn't come home from work. We searched for him with the whole family, along with the police and volunteers, but it brought no results. One night, Tatiana Olegovna received a phone call. At first, the person on the other end was breathing heavily, then said just one word, sorry. My mother-in-law thinks that her husband just ran away from her and didn't have the courage to say goodbye properly. After that, she was left alone. I didn't understand why she looked younger than her years. She had a beautiful figure, a thin waist, a fourth-size bust that men constantly stared at wherever she appeared, and a firm, neat fifth point, which also caught the eye. Now she lay with that very point upward, and I admit, I stared at it all the time. Her skin was as delicate as satin, and I was very pleased to massage her. Tatiana Olegovna relaxed just 2 minutes after I first touched her. "Maxim, you have golden hands," she said. "Yes, I even have an award for that," I replied, nodding at the statue on the shelf. I guess I had many clients who complained to each other. "So I'm not sitting without work," I said. "And Olga, have you ever done a massage?" "A long time ago, but not anymore," I replied. "And why does she refuse?" "She says I shouldn't touch her after all these light-minded girls," my mother-in-law laughed. "But she doesn't know what she's refusing. I would like to go for such sessions every day, not just once. You massage for just a few minutes, and I'm so relaxed as if I slept all night." Today our session is over. Tatiana Olegovna stood up from the couch, not turning to me, but I managed to see from the corner of my eye how she went home in the car. "You relax so well with you, as if you've been to a resort. Come back at the same time tomorrow." Olga was waiting for me at home today. For some reason, she was calmer than usual. "How was the session with Tatiana Olegovna?" "There are a few problem spots, we'll try to work them all out," I said. "You're my gold," my wife said unexpectedly. The next evening, my mother-in-law was already waiting for me. Somehow I liked yesterday's session no less than she did. I enjoyed her company, it was easy with her, she radiated a kind of light aura. She was there again in front of the temptress. Today she asked for a massage of the inner thigh surface, probably hoping I wouldn't hold back and confess. I was on the edge when the client moaned leaving the room. I heard someone talking to her. I approached the door and recognized my mother-in-law's voice. "Don't come here anymore, or the hair of the temptress will turn into the hair of the seducer." She screamed and tried to fight back, but her client did nothing, and I thought I would never see her again. My mother-in-law entered the office a little out of breath and blushing, greeted me, and tried to find out if I had seen what happened in the corridor. I tried to remember the last time a woman fought over me and couldn't recall when that was the last time in my life. My mother-in-law took off her lemon-colored blouse and folded it on a chair, leaving me in a black silk bustier. "Please turn on the music like yesterday," asked Tatiana Olegovna. I turned on the tape recorder and lit the incense. My mother-in-law lay down on the couch in anticipation. I rubbed cream on my hands and applied it to her body. From her reaction, I understood that she wanted this. It was a pleasure to touch her delicate thin neck, elegant shoulders, to run my fingertips over her shoulder blades with pressure and demand, massaging her sides. Massage is the most sensual part, and today my mother-in-law and I were in harmony with each other. A prolonged sigh was heard. "Are you unwell?" I asked anxiously. "I'm fine," said my mother-in-law and turned over on the couch. I stared at the top of her head, and she smiled. "Your massage is torture for me because you are such a handsome, masculine man with gentle and strong hands," she said. I could no longer restrain myself and buried my lips in the mole on her neck. After that, what my wife suspected me of every day happened several times on the couch. Today her accusations would not be empty. From this session, my mother-in-law and I got the maximum possible pleasure. Still, I drove her home and scheduled a meeting for the next evening at 6. She cost me one client, and she will have to make up for the lost time. In the evening, when we were already lying with my wife, she said that her mother was very satisfied with the session. Then suddenly, Roka asked me to give her a massage. I didn't refuse. Although I was tired after the day, and there seemed to be a thaw between me and my wife. I don't know what will happen next, but I've stopped feeling indifferent to what's happening, and my life has brightened up again.